About this dish was, it started with the idea of an egg. We do a lot with eggs. We have really good eggs in our area, always savory. And I was talking with Matt and we said, well, why don't we do one in a dessert? And then we had this idea that we were going to surround it with layers of things, and Matt said like a nest. And so that started this whole idea. So the dish is called Nest. And the idea is that a nest is there to protect a new life. It's made with whatever's around it. It's incredibly fragile, but at the same time it has to be strong enough to withstand wind, rain. It has to be strong enough to protect the life inside it. So it's comforting, and it's home, and it's familiarity, but it's also a little bit stifling because sooner or later the egg, it hatches and the bird takes off. So we like to kind of also as a metaphor for creativity and how we take new ideas and how those new ideas come to be. How do we make something that looks strong but is actually very fragile? So anyway, I'll let Matt talk.
So I think we've been working on this dish for about, I would say, 3 months now. It started off with the idea, and then like most desserts, lots of testing to make it not only delicious, but also so that we can produce something so fragile for 50 people every night. It's only been on the menu 2 nights, and then we went on to come over here, so it's kind of a work in progress. So initially, we started with the idea of a yolk.
Do me a favor, just like tell them what this is as I build it.
You got it. So before we get into that, we started with the idea of a yolk. Everyone's seen a bunch of different techniques. Cook it in oil, cook it in sous vide. So we ended up starting off with a yolk. We cooked it in syrup solution, and then I was enrobing it in chocolate, which looked really nice, but didn't end up eating too well. So we scratched that, and we cooked it in oil. The main problem we had is that yolk is fine and savory to cook it that way, and a little salt on the top. But for dessert, I felt like we had to get into the yolk and season it. So we ended up using a pretty popular technique where you take the yolks, pass the yolks, we cook them in a bag, 65 and a half for about 50 minutes, depending on the eggs. And that gives us the ability to rewarm it for service and season it with sugar and salt, which really changed it and gives us the ability to present it to a guest as a dessert. So here we have a mushroom cocoa twill, which we start the base. After that, we put in the bottom a piece of brioche. I forgot to say that we ended up with a flavor profile is basically chocolate bread pudding, which in the US is pretty pedestrian. But at the same time, we like that. We like things that are familiar and making them new, and in this situation, light. So brioche on the bottom, cocoa twill, we got some dried, what do we use for those? Matsutake? Porcini, dried porcini powder. Then a simple chocolate custard goes in the bottom. Okay. After that, we're making a milk gel with bread. So basically a bread pudding. So a pudding, agar and milk, infused with toasted bread, so really strong bread flavor, but not heavy. Okay? And then on top of that, we place our seasoned egg yolk. Let me hit that button.
Hey, that's coming.
I'll take it. Okay? So a seasoned egg yolk. I'll keep going before I go into that. Oh, we can go into that now. We're learning so much about egg yolks. just in this dish, so many questions. How an egg yolk changes volume, what 30 grams of egg yolk looks like before you cook it, before you whisk it. Before we're dealing with like seasoning it. An hour later, the salt just keeps climbing. So after that, we add caramel foam. So hard cooked sugar, milk, salt. Okay. Then from there, we add a piece of bread twill. And then from there we continue to make it all look like a nest. Or what, I know we went through a lot of different ideas, but what a nest would look like. Not so much a perfect nest, more like something you want to stare at. Something you want to eat, something that interests you, especially at the end of 10 courses. By the time people get to dessert, especially at Folge, or I think at any tasting menu restaurant, it's important to stay light. It's challenging to stay, to keep people excited, but just kind of rattle them a little bit, maybe. And still staying light, that they can finish something. All right, I think that's our last photo. Then from there, we finish it with chocolate caramel, which we pull different pieces, and this has been our most challenging part of the dessert on a nightly basis, just kind of adjusting things to make it, like I said in the beginning, so everyone gets the same experience. All right.
So basically, one of the things that we're doing is kind of building something in and then just kind of working around it, and